Hey y'all, it's CherokeeStarfish, and welcome to our first coronavirus pandemic bonus stream. Um, I'm not sure if that's the best thing to call it, but while we're all stuck inside during this quarantine, I thought that I'd stream a little bit more for some of y'all and try to provide some extra entertainment. And so I decided that I would play another of my classic favorites, Titan Quest. Now, Titan Quest is a game that came out in 2006. So normally I try to play games that are about 15 years old or older so far. This one's technically 14, this year, but it's a great example of what I want to show off on the channel because it is a game that I loved. I've lost so many different hours to it. Um, and It's a game that I play over and over again. I've played it with friends and multiplayer. I have all of the expansions, and that's the important thing is this is a game that even though it came out in 2006, there is still a very active community. The property was picked up after the original studio kind of folded, and they've made new content for it. There is an HD remaster, there's an anniversary edition, and there are the Ragnarok and Atlantis expansions that are new that go along with the original Immortal Throne expansion from back when the game first came out. And those games, or those expansions, all of this is just now being ported to mobile, to like the iPhone 6 and stuff. It's being ported to consoles. In fact, I actually have Titan Quest on the Nintendo Switch, and I believe that Atlantis just became available on Xbox One and PS4. So I thought that now is a great time to showcase this and kind of help to draw attention to a game that I already love that is still being supported so that maybe you will find it interesting enough to play it as well, give it a chance. And you can pick it up either on PC or on console, on mobile, wherever. And I do recommend that you take a look. I'll put the link on where you can get this game on Steam and so forth in the video description when I upload this to YouTube. So let's go ahead and get started. I have a female character here, female avatar, just because I like the female model a little bit better than the male model. I like to hear her voice a little bit more when she tells me that my backpack is full. But also, perhaps more importantly, I feel like ancient Greek mythology doesn't have quite enough kick-ass woman heroes. The dudes get to do all of the cool stuff, and the women are always like, evil sorceresses, or, they're doomed to failure, they're victims of a curse. There are a few like Atalanta, but even then, they usually wind up like marrying some more powerful dude or being defeated by somebody like Heracles or, whatever. And the ones that we know are people like Circe. If you go to their media, there are characters like Lysistrata, uh, who I consider to be kind of heroic, but that's a topical thing, and, that play is satire. So even then, it's not quite the same thing as the adventures that other characters like Heracles, or like Agamemnon, or like Zagreus, or any of those get to go on. So I'm going to go ahead and start with our heroine here. I'm not showing the opening cinematic for this game, but the story is basically that the Titans, who were sealed away by the gods, are breaking free. And nobody's 100% sure how that's happening or why, and nobody knows what to do about it. And so we are a hero that is going to do something about it. Let's get started. I'm going to disable the tutorial tips because I have played this game so much. And if y'all want to view the tutorial, then you can play it for yourselves.
You there, soldier! If you've come looking for rest and peace, you won't find it here in Helos. Our village has recently been beset by satyrs and other vile beasts. The help of your fighting arm would be greatly appreciated. Our farmers cannot get to their fields and our supplies are running low. Please, go down the road toward the village and help where you can.
Now, this is using the updated interface from the newer expansions. I actually prefer the older interface just because it's a little more stylized, but this one probably fits everything on the screen a little bit better. Oh, there we go. We all know that marker, right? Our first quest.
You must have been sent by the gods. Please, in the field here, they're going to kill my horse.
Yes, our first quest is to rescue this horse from a ravenous boar and a couple of satyrs. Ha, satyr? Don't even know her. There we go. Gonna grab this as well.
You saved my horse. Thank you. But I'm not the only one in trouble. Down the road there, that's my village, Helos. We've got monsters at the gates, in the fields. They're everywhere.
Yeah, so that's the big trouble here at the beginning of the game, is that monsters are showing up all over the place, and there just are not, enough like people available to fight them, and it's a big problem. So.
Hello, I am Aeson, guard captain for this small village. We are holding up, but what's the use? If the monsters lay waste to our farms, we're lost all the same. It's that cursed shaman. Diomedes is tearing his hair out over it.
Now these fountains of rebirth here, these are our spawn points. Whenever we activate a new one of these in a new area, that's where we will reappear if we die. Okay, so let's see. First things first. Now you'll notice because I don't have anything in these slots, I'm auto-equipping stuff that I pick up. So the game is really great about showing the armor and weapon models on your character model as you equip stuff, which is something I love about it. And also, it does you the favor of comparing damage, like whenever you hover over an item in your inventory, it's going to come up in this window and it's going to show you what you have equipped, which is clearly marked as different from what you are currently looking at, and you can compare the two without having to really do anything else. And over here, damage per second is overall more important than your average damage or like damage per hit. So we can see that, my damage per second actually goes up with the spear versus the dagger, even though my attack speed goes way down. And that's because the spear is so much more powerful. And so I'm going to stick with the spear for now. Another important quest. Here's the Elder.
Stranger, I'm Diomedes, the leader of this small village. Do you mean to say that you fought your way here? If that's true, then please, I beg of you, we need your help. Monsters led by a powerful satyr shaman appeared a few days ago and have driven us from our farms. We can hardly defend the village gates and have no one who can stop them from destroying our crops. Our farmland lies on the other side of the river, just over this bridge. The shaman was last seen beyond the farms at the edge of the Helos woods. Please, rid us of this terrible sorcerer. We will pay you what we can.
Oh, and you see the guards running off because there's some satyrs showing up on cue. Alright. There we go. Now, this game has a lot of little quirks. You'll notice that I think the voice acting is really quite good. And there are quite a few NPCs to talk to in each area. They're listed. See up there at the top, Iolus is a storyteller. And if you talk to one of those, there's one in like almost every area. They will tell you a Greek legend.
A god and of a mortal woman. The man named Heracles.
Yeah, so I'm not going to listen to the entire legend, but that's a really cool little feature that you can learn more about the mythology of the area that you're in each time that you arrive at a major spot. Over here we've got our shopkeeper, we have our caravan driver. That is where we can access our stash. So we can store things here, we can expand the storage by paying money, keep things that we're going to use later. The transfer area allows us to put stuff in this caravan that we can trade between characters. So if you're playing more than one save file and you find something cool, you can drop it in here and give it to another character who maybe can use it better, or who maybe you've outgrown something. You drop it in here and leave it for a lower level character to make use of when they get to the appropriate stat level or whatever. And then your relic vault, same thing. You can punch relics in there so that you can save them. I'm going to go down here and activate this portal. You can see the runes lighting up and the beam of light there. So as we find these portals throughout the world, that will allow us to use right here our portal stone, which we can drop and use to teleport back to any portal that we have been to, or if we're in multiplayer, to another player's portal. So it's important to grab this first because we may need to teleport back down here in an emergency and heal here in Helos or something, in case the satyrs start kicking our butts. So let's find out if the satyrs are going to kick our butts or not. Hopefully not. This is another feature I like. You can kind of keep track of where you've been in the game and where you haven't been based on whether these torches light up at the edge of a new area. Okay, let's go ahead and start with the closest ones, I guess. There's no reason to do anything different. We're going to find a variety of monsters here, but the main thing that we're going to encounter right away is these satyrs. Then there's also going to be like some crows and carrion birds, which I love. They just disappear in a little puff of feathers when you kill them. And there's also going to be some boars. Our health regenerates automatically, which is great, but at this point in the game it doesn't regenerate very quickly. So you'll see here healing potions and energy potions are already linked to our hotbar. I'm going to leave those buttons there because we will need them. I'll pick that one up. Go. Oop. There's such a variety of weapons in this game. They added throwing weapons later on, and of course there's always been things like you know, bows and stuff like that. So
At harvest time, the whole village sets to work in the fields. The crops must be gathered and properly stored. We make an offering to Demeter, goddess of bounty.
I would imagine so. So yeah, and as we go through this game and level up, of course, we're going to get to select some special powers. You can see the experience bar filling up down here at the bottom. And we're going to get to level 2 pretty quick, which is when we get to pick our first mastery. Now, in Titan Quest, as in the game that came later by mostly the same developers, Grim Dawn, which is another great game and a more recent one with its own expansions and stuff. I highly recommend that you play it as well. It's a great game. And if you have played it, you will be familiar with this system of, like, you get 2 different disciplines or masteries which have a theme, and you kind of create your own class by choosing any 2 that you want to pair them, and you become called something based on the combination that you've chosen. So, like, for example, in here there is Earth and Storm, or Nature and Storm. If you pick Nature and Storm, I think you become a druid, because of course then you have, you know, powers over nature, but you also have powers over you know, weather as well. And there we go. Leveling up is very important, not only because it allows us to pick up powers, but also because you'll notice we heal to full each time that we do that. So, before we go on, let's pick our first mastery. So, you might see up here these 2 little buttons lit up and glowed. That's because we're going to get 2 different attribute points each time that we level up. We can dump those directly into health and energy in order to, you know, like create kind of a significant boost straight to those 2 bars. Those will also go up slightly as we increase, you know, our other statistics and put points in our masteries as well, which is great. So, before I put points in Strength, Intelligence, or Dexterity, though, Strength, of course, is going to increase physical damage. It allows you to wear heavier armor and use larger weapons. Intelligence, that's your elemental damage, your vitality damage, energy regeneration rate. That is for smart fighting. It's for wizards. Dexterity is going to increase, like, how much armor you bypass. It increases your defense, and it increases your trick damage or gimmick damage, I guess, things like poison, bleeding, stuff that rogues would use, and it allows you to use you know, finesse weapons, bows and arrows, that kind of stuff. So I want to hold off on putting these 2 points in here as we level up because I want to pick our mastery first. And the reason why is when you put points in your mastery, it's going to increase some of these skills. So we're going to spend these points differently based on how we choose our masteries and how we put points in them. If I pick something that improves strength and dexterity, these are probably going to go in intelligence to keep things balanced and so on. So, here we go. So, there are 10 different masteries in the game. Now, some of these were added later. There were originally 8. And then when Immortal Throne came out, Dream was added, and when Ragnarok came out, Runes were added. Each of them, of course, has a different power, a different theme, so each one of them is going to create a wildly different combination based on what we pair it with. All of these are functional, all of them are good, none of them suck. I have played with all of them. I have not played every combination simply because there are so many combinations. But I'm going to let y'all choose our masteries. We get to pick our first one now, and we will pick our second one in a few more levels when we get further on into the game. So, I'm going to do a, very briefly, kind of go over and do a summary of each of these. And the reason that this is important is because, you can respec your character, and you can get back all of the points you have put into a mastery and re-spend them on new skills. But you cannot respec the mastery itself. So, once you choose, say, Earth or Defense or Hunting, and you put points into it, then that's it. You are locked into that mastery, and again with the second one later on. So, that means that this is an important decision. So, we've got Storm. Yeah, defense is a pretty good one. I'll get to... Well, we'll do defense first. So, defense is exactly what it says on the tin, okay? It makes it easier to wear armor. It makes your armor more effective, and it gives you some special attacks based on your shield, like a shield bash or charge, and it also gives you some specializations based around bludgeoning weapons such as maces and hammers. Which might seem a little odd, but I mean, that's why it's in there. So it's almost like a cleric kind of thing going on. So it just makes you harder to kill, drastically increases your survivability. Then we've got Nature. Nature is heavily focused on summoning. You get a lot of pets. Some of them, you get wolves, which are individually not super powerful, but you can summon a whole pack of them and they'll buff one another. You get a nymph who has a ranged attack and can also heal. And you get some other powers, you get a direct heal yourself, you get some poison and disease powers, and you get some buffs. Runes is kind of all over the place, but it's based on field control and creating area effect buffs. So you can draw symbols on the ground, and then when you stand on them or near them, you will get special powers. That kind of thing. Hunting is a specialization in bows and spears, and it gives you access to a bunch of traps, and it focuses heavily on piercing and bleed damage so that you can shoot things and then run away. Rogue. This is focused on piercing weapons such as knives, daggers, spears, that kind of thing, short swords. There's a lot of poison damage, a lot of bleed damage, a lot of critical hit powers, and also some traps, as well as some buffs against things like traps. So these are not all of the physical ones, because of course warfare's over here, but mostly physical ones. Over here is the more heavily magical area. Storm is ice and lightning damage, including some buffs that do things like hit back when you get struck. Earth is earth and fire. There's a lot of heavy defense, a lot of damage over time, a lot of ranged attacks and explosions and so on. Dream is psychic powers. It allows you to deal vitality burn damage, and there's not a lot of monsters in the game that have strong defense against Dream. When it first came out, it was kind of overpowered. But it's very good. There's some teleportation, some knockback, and a lot of AoEs. Spirit is the necromancy mastery. It allows you to raise a lot of pets, skeletons, a lich, some other spirits and things to help you, which is really great. There's a lot of debuff auras and defensive powers, and a lot of life-draining self-heals. and it focuses on the staff as a weapon. So it's like a pure wizard mastery. Warfare is the opposite. Warfare has no magical powers, but it allows you to dual wield single-handed weapons. It makes you fast, it makes you strong, it makes you hit hard, gives you a lot of different attack options, including some buffs, and also some debuffs, some things like you get a war horn that will stun enemies in an area. So, when we pick our first mastery, we're also going to have to be thinking about what the second mastery is going to be later on, and I'll leave that up to y'all as well. So, do we have a firm favorite for our first mastery here? Kind of got to vote for defense, which, of course, in single player, that's definitely going to extend our lifespan. And defense pairs really well with another pure physical mastery such as warfare or hunting or even rogue, but it also works a lot better than you would think with your spellcasting masteries such as Storm or Dream or even Spirit, because since it focuses specifically on making you harder to kill and spellcasters overall are a bit weaker, then that means that being able to wear more armor or to use a shield along with a sword or something like that is going to really increase your survivability. Dream. Yeah, Dream is pretty good. Like I said, that psychic damage, man. Actually, that's a more popular combination than you would think. Dream and defense. I don't think that I have actually played that myself, but I have played in multiplayer with two different people who stacked Dream and defense, and I know that it worked really well. So we can do that. Dream and defense. The question is, which do we pick first? Which one should we pick now, and which one do we pick later? Because by the time we pick the second mastery, we're going to have quite a few ranks in the powers of the other ones. So basically, we need to choose what kind of abilities do we want now. Do we want to start focusing on defense and armor to begin with, and then build up into our magic? Or do we want to start with some blasting powers and buffs and things like that, and then we'll worry about the armor a little bit later on? That might be the better way, just because that way our offensive powers have got some oomph to them, and then by the time that we start finding armor that is difficult for us to wear, that's when defense will kick in, and we'll be able to start dropping ranks and stuff that makes us more effective that way. You guys want to do it like that? We'll go Dream first and then defense. And of course, too, since we won't pick that second mastery for several levels, that means that you've got time to reevaluate as well. I doubt that we will get to our second mastery this stream, but I'm going to be streaming this game every Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so that means that you've got a week to think about what our second mastery is going to be. Alright, well, between the two of them, yeah, I think I've talked myself into it. There we go, you get a little fanfare for each of them, see, and here we can undo mastery selection until we completely commit. See, so this allows us to kind of look and see what different powers each one's going to get. That's true, yes. Killing your enemies is the best form of damage mitigation. And here you can see what I was talking about. This is where we put points directly into the mastery, and all of the abilities are arranged in tiers that you have to have a certain number of mastery points to access. Yeah, exactly. So 1 point in defense is going to unlock things like concussive blow, the chance of stun if you're using a club or an axe. Battle awareness, that is an ability that we can turn on like a toggled ability that gives us a buff. Batter, a shield attack if we're wielding a shield. And armor handling, which makes armor easier to use. Dream, by contrast, That's going to raise, see, like our strength and our intelligence. Dexterity will suffer a little bit. We'll have to put points in that. But we gain a sleep spell, Psionic Touch, which is going to replace our regular attack, and it's going to deal a bonus to regular damage and vitality damage. And then it gives us access to Distortion Wave, which is a powerful cone-shaped attack that knocks enemies back and deals a significant amount of damage, and also anyone who doesn't die is slowed. So we're going to go with Dream then. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and let's sink our first point then into the Dream Mastery, and that's going to make that decision for us. 1 point, boom, there we go, is going to give us access to these. I'm going to put our first actual skill point into Psionic Touch. You can see this light up here. There's a whole track where these other passive abilities, which are indicated by circles, versus active abilities, which are square icons, require Psionic Touch in order to access them, because they're going to buff this ability and make it better. And then we're going to go ahead and put a point in Distortion Wave, because that's why we picked Dream, believe me, this ability. Sleep, it's not a bad spell, but Sands of Sleep becomes less and less useful the further we go into the game. So, okay, there we go. And I'm going to drop a point in Dexterity, as well as a point in Intelligence. That way that'll kind of keep up the low ability, but also it's going to buff our strong one. And here we go. I'm going to replace our basic attack with Psionic Touch, and I'm going to add Distortion Wave as our right-click ability. Alright, let's go on and see how this works, how it changes things. There we go. You see that blue flash? So that was Psionic Touch charging up. Every 3 attacks, you're going to see that blue flash, which is going to deal bonus damage as well as vitality damage. That's the good stuff. Distortion Wave, on the other hand, works like that. It's like a wide area cone or line in front of us. It slows enemies down, deals a bunch of damage, and later on you will see enemies who die from it are going to get thrown back. Alright. There we go. That thing that I just picked up, the stone pillar that had the light on it, that was a shrine, and this particular shrine was one of regeneration. Shrines give you temporary powers, very similarly to, games such as Diablo. Ooh, potion time. There's our boss, of course. Bosses are indicated by, like, see that shining aura around him? There we go. Let's put a slow on him. And it's important to watch your health and know when to use potions, because even though I didn't want to burn a potion there, I did, and the reason why is because potions do not instantly heal you. They have a small amount of instantaneous healing, and then they
no more room.
Whoop. There we go. And then afterwards, they just drastically increase your regeneration for a short amount of time. See. Oh. Okay, the red one's a healing shrine, the purple's regeneration. My bad. I knew they're both healing effects. There we go. Okay, we don't need all of these torches. There we go, we'll pick up some of this stuff instead.
You can't carry anymore.
Oh, come on. Go.
You can't hold anymore.
I'm sure I can. I love this button, though, where it just rearranges things for you. It's great. I'll trick the game here. I'll take the biggest item and just see right here we can hold 2 weapon sets, so you can swap between them with this button down here and have 2 different sets of commands attached to them.
Your inventory
There we go.
is full.
And now rather than walk back, I'll throw down my portal stone. Ta-da! And we can teleport straight back to Helos. Though later on we will get more inventory space, but that's not right now. Those are at like major story milestones.
You're going out there, don't go unprepared. It is not safe. Buy what you need here.
I'm going to go ahead and sell this bow, these torches and things like that, because, oh, there we go, spellcaster armor, +1 armor and increased energy regeneration. That's great for us. We as Dream users are going to be like kind of wearing a mix of spellcaster armor and heavy armor. Now, right now, I'm going to hang on to like the shield that we have because, of course, increased defense. But later on, we'll decide what kind of weapon we're going to use, you know, as we go along. I'll hang on to that as well. Let's see. Required level 3, 3, 3. Okay, that's what's keeping us from most of this. It's a bonus to health. That's higher armor and a bonus to intelligence. Energy regeneration, health. We can hang on to all of these and just kind of see like where it takes us.
Goodbye, my friend.
We'll level up again fairly quickly, so that's the benefit of the caravan here. Hang on to things and then just come back for them later.
So long!
You defeated the powerful shaman? Astounding! Your victory today is great, but I fear there will be more monsters tomorrow. At least there is enough of the harvest left to feed us all. Take this gold. I know it's not much. Please seek out the Spartan general Leonidas. Petition him on my behalf. Ask him to send a few of his warriors to protect us, and quickly, before we are again overwhelmed.
There we go. Cool. 1,000 gold. It's more than we had. We'll probably be focusing mostly on melee weapons with this character just because... whoop. Got some more satyrs here. Because Dream is going to boost our strength. So, let's see. Okay, here's the guy who ran in Nicostratus. He gives us a quest where we have to go rescue his boyfriend.
We were leading our flocks home when a pack of satyrs attacked. By the gods, they grabbed Helos and dragged him into a roadside cave. The roads aren't safe. Nowhere is safe anymore.
And see, it designates it as a side quest too, which is helpful.
Don't forget armor for your arms and legs. They're important too.
Okay, we'll keep the spear for now.
Until next time.
Alright. Let's take our spear and our psionic powers and head out. Now, I think that the night cycles are like fairly easy to see, but I don't know what it's going to look like on everyone's monitors, of course. So, if you find it difficult to see what's going on during a night cycle like this, let me know, and I can turn up the gamma. There we go. Distortion wave isn't much at this level, but it will very quickly become much more powerful. Especially once we start adding passive buffs. Satyrs everywhere. Ooh, a battle marker. This is one of the best shrines because it basically just increases all of your combat stats. It increases your damage, your offensive ability, your defensive ability, your speed. So, you know, you just become pretty much better at combat. Indeed. Oops. Grab all of this stuff. Later on, I will stop picking up white items, just because they won't be as valuable. They're not worth the inventory space that it takes to get them back to town and sell them. Magic items are worth so much more, but right now, you know, where we're just starting out, some of this is going to be equipment we're going to wear. Some of it is going to be, you know, stuff that we're going to sell. Oop, our battle marker wore off. There we go. Used a healing potion, but we earned a healing potion, so. And thankfully they stack, so we don't ever have to worry about not having the room to carry them. Good, I'm glad. As long as you can see, that's what matters. Let's see. Well, we're carrying a lot more than I thought already. Let's go down and ruin these guys' day. Alright, rank 3. See? So we'll go back in, pop in some more points. You have to have 4 ranks in your mastery to unlock the second tier of abilities. We want to do that pretty quickly, but also we want to keep putting points in these. So what I'm going to do is drop 2 points into our mastery. That way, that puts us at 3, so when we get to the next level, we'll be able to put 1 point in here and spend our other 2 points on second tier abilities. In the meantime, this one we can drop into either Distortion Wave or Sonic Touch. And again, yeah, like you said earlier, Sands of Sleep is kind of situational, and later on stuff just has, like, it has sleep resistance, and there's a lot of things like the Undead that it doesn't really work well on, so for the moment, Sonic Touch is probably the way to go because it's free to use. It changes our basic attack, which of course is what we're using more than anything else. So the more power we stack on that, the better it's going to be, because that's going to carry us most of the way through the game. Alright. Boom. Alright, let's move our portal stone. I'm going to hop back and sell some of this stuff. There's going to be a lot of that at the beginning. Unfortunately, it just, you know, kind of is what it is.
Welcome.
Sell all of these bows again. This is a throwing weapon. Those were not added until later on. I believe that they came out in Ragnarok. Thrown weapon again. We don't have any pets yet, but we also don't have any rings, so I'll just hang on to that. These are both the same. Can't wear either of those because they require more strength. Oh yeah, we need to spend our 2 points. So let's see. We can go ahead and possibly put a point in strength in order to access some of these. I think we should. And then I'm also going to put a point in intelligence because, again, because Dream boosts strength and intelligence, we're going to be using a mix of both like heavy armor and weapons for warriors and also wizard stuff. So let's see. Okay. This ring, we'll go ahead and pop that on, +5 dexterity, 6 strength, and let's see, 10 armor. This is 2 more armor, but I think that this giving us +6 strength and 23% energy regeneration is definitely better, hands down. Same with this. This is 12 armor. That's 12 armor, but also 79 health. This is 10 armor, but 50 health and 22% energy regeneration. Actually, we've got so much energy regeneration. The only thing that's draining energy right now is Distortion Wave. This gives us a bit more health and armor. I think I'll go with that. This shield is just a straight upgrade from what we have. No reason not to use it. This we'll hang on to for a little while longer.
My blades will serve you in a pinch.
Okay.
We shall see you again, I hope.
There we go. Now, rather than walking back, I can go here, and you will see that little orange bit. and that indicates my portal, so I can just select this and go right back so that it goes both ways. Okay. You can already see that even though the enemies are scaling along with us, that the things that are like, level 2, we are killing them quicker. Well, why did I shoot that direction? Distortion wave can sometimes be like a little bit difficult to aim. If you click on an enemy, sometimes it doesn't always shoot that way, so it's better to click on the ground. There we go. See, and then guarantee that it goes that way. Alright, a chest. There's a whole camp of them over here. I like the way Distortion Wave looks, because it looks like it's plowing up the ground in front of it, as you unleash this massive psychic blast. It's just a really cool effect. Okay. Let's open this chest. Alright, a healing potion. I love those. Okay, before I head down into the cave... Titan Quest is a pretty good game about, like in terms of not really having to farm for experience points, not having to grind very much. Sometimes you may have to like save and load in order to respawn a specific dungeon or side area if you are farming for a particular material, like for a trinket or something. But you don't really have to grind levels on here. If you clean out an entire area as you go, then I've never had any difficulty with like feeling compelled to stay in an area and grind up past a certain level in order to effectively like actually survive that level. Ooh, there we go. Oh, you see that little flash? They put a net trap on us. Alright. Ooh, our first sword. Come back here. Come back and fight me. That slow makes a lot of difference. Just like you can see, getting stuck in place makes a huge difference for me. There we go. This game was heavily inspired by things that came before it, like Diablo. And I think that that's obvious, although unlike Diablo, it is not procedurally generated. The monsters and the levels are the same every time. And I can see how that would be disappointing for some people, but it's not disappointing for me, and the main reason for that is because like it's so pretty, honestly, that I'm not bothered by it. And there we go. That sword deals enough damage that its increased speed makes it better than the spear, so we'll grab that other stuff in a moment. But first, here we go. See how their names are purple? Those are quest monsters. Anything that's purple is related directly to a quest. And so those are technically boss monsters because they are related to this side quest where we have to come down here and save Helos.
A human face. Good fortune finds me even in the darkest places of Greece. I believed I was counting my final hours.
And that technically completes the quest. We'll come right back here in a moment. But first we need to empty our backpack, and I'm going to tell his boyfriend that he's fine. It's not required, but you'll see he does have the yellow exclamation point over his head, and that indicates that he's got something to say about the situation. Let's see. Okay, that's better than the Beast Caller's band, at least for us.
Goodbye.
Tellus, still alive? I can hardly believe my ears. I had given up. Thank you, warrior. Thank you.
You're welcome. Alright, let's go back and get our real reward, which is not the warm fuzzy feeling that we get from saving that guy, but it's the treasure in that big treasure chest over there. When you complete a quest, you will often get a boss chest, which is like noticeably above the level of other chests around it, and it'll be in an ornate chest or a majestic chest. It'll look nicer, and it's got more stuff in it, including things like this. It has a higher chance to drop stuff like trinkets.
You can't hold anymore.
And I'm not sure about this, someone feel free to confirm, but I am almost positive that the person who voices the female adventurer in Titan Quest actually is the voice of the rogue from the first Diablo game. Let's see. Okay, that's the same as the sword, so we'll hang on to it. This has less armor, but it gives us a bonus to dexterity, which is required, in order to use some of these spears, which are going to be better than the sword in turn. So I will sacrifice that bit of energy regeneration, I think, in order to use these. And that's going to increase our damage from 17 to 19. See? Okay. I'm going to go back and empty our inventory again anyway, so there's a lot of that kind of going back and forth. I'll do that and then come back and grab that other stuff before we go.
Anything else?
Here we go. Rid of all of that very quickly. Now this we want to keep, and I'm going to go ahead and put it in our storage area, because see, this is a relic shard. Now relics and monster trinkets and charms you get in pieces, and when you combine them they have an increasingly strong effect. So see, like for example, the essence of Artemis's bowstring can only enchant bows, and you can do this just like socketing a gem in Diablo, adding it to a bow weapon. When you do that, the bow gains an additional 3 piercing damage, 2% attack speed, and a 2% increase in projectile speed. There are 3 pieces to each instance of Artemis's bowstring, and so as you get them together, you can add them up and stack them until when you have 3, it will create a completed relic, which will have not only an increase to the piercing damage, attack speed, and projectile speed, but will also gain a completion power, such as maybe a bonus to dexterity, or additional bleeding damage, or electricity damage, something like that. So those are really important, not just because they give you a straight-up bonus by themselves, but also you can get recipes for powerful artifacts in this game, which will require relics and monster charms as creation components. So that means that you'll probably see me kind of hoard those. I'm often hesitant to use up my monster charms and things, and the reason why is because I know that those artifacts are coming. So as long as I'm doing mostly alright without enhancing my armor and weapons using the relics, a lot of times I'll just put them straight into the caravan chest and kind of leave them there. Which is not the optimal way to play the game, I'm sure, but again, like, if I'm already doing okay anyway, then, you know, like, no harm done is kind of my thought. Because the artifacts that you can create later on, they're going to be more powerful. Alright. And we're getting some monster charms here now, too. See, that boar dropped boar hide, which is an armor-enhancing charm. And that harpy dropped pristine plumage. Boarhide increases armor and it gives you bleeding resistance. Pristine plumage also enchants armor and it gives you poison resistance. Monster charms require 5 pieces to complete versus relics require 3. That's because relics don't drop as often as monster charms, because monster charms have a chance of spawning from any monster of the appropriate type. So that means that you can farm for them, and just killing monsters will get you pieces of monster charm. On the other hand, the relics, they mostly spawn from treasure chests. They can absolutely be dropped by monsters, but they have a lower drop rate, and they're more specific about where they can drop from, so they're basically bigger treasure.
I was in a bit of a scrape there, I'll admit. Thank the god Hermes you came along.
There we go. See, and sometimes you'll get side quests even when you don't really realize it. Like that technically helping him was a side quest. And if you don't help him, you just don't get the reward for it. Alright. Another new region. Another rebirth shrine up here. Oh, this is a shrine of thorns. That means that anyone who hits us takes physical damage. So basically, that by beating on us, they're killing themselves. Always a good buff. Now, you may also wonder why wild animals are attacking us as well as monsters. In some cases, they've been tamed by the monsters, of course. And in other cases, and I'll get to that in just a moment, that's not quite the reason why. Titan Quest is great about actually giving you a reason. Why do random birds and boars and wolves and things like that attack you? Well, it is because they are being driven mad by the presence of the Titans. That is what Titans do. The reason that they're so destructive and the reason why they're a blight upon the world is because just the mere existence of Titans in an area corrupts that area and causes animals to go wild and eventually turn into beasts. And also, even monsters that normally would be more peaceful or wouldn't attack people, either because they're scared, of dying themselves in combat, or because they're normally like peaceful, like centaurs, for example, or nymphs, naiads, that kind of thing. The Titans drive them crazy and make them attack people. That will come up in the story. So let's see. That is literally like exactly worse. All right, so see here, to save storage space and also because like this is what we would do with it anyway, I'm going to take this pristine plumage, I'm going to right click on it, pick it up, and I can drop it on this other one. And now you'll see the little number 2 there indicates that it's 2 out of 5 pieces, which is also indicated on its tooltip. And you'll see that now it gives you 8 poison resistance instead of 4 if you add it to a piece of armor, which is great. Okay, none of these are enchanted or anything, so... Alright, let's deal with that level. Okay. Like I said before, I'm going to put another point in a mastery. That's going to unlock these new skills. The first one, Phantom Strike. This is like Scorpion's teleport kick from Mortal Kombat. It's got a range on it, and it's got a pretty decent cooldown, but you disappear and then reappear right next to a target and hit them, just wallop them with a critical hit. Over here, we have Lucid Dream. This is a passive ability as indicated by its circular icon, and it increases all physical, electrical burn, and vitality damage that you deal, which is great because those are the kinds of damage that you are dealing with all of your Dream Mastery power. So it basically buffs all of your offensive attacks. And then finally we have Trance of Empathy. So you have several different trances. You've got Convalescence and you've got Wrath. Only one of them can be like active at a time. So if you toggle one off, then you have to toggle, or toggle one on, you have to toggle the other ones off. Each of them does something different. So it costs an active energy cost per second. Some of these abilities that you can toggle on, they require you to reserve a certain amount of energy. So what they'll do is they will artificially reduce your maximum energy as long as they are active. Others, like this trance, actually cost energy per second, which is one of the reasons why energy regeneration rate is so important. So this one causes 3 to 10% of your attack damage to be converted into health, and you also reflect 15% of all damage that is being dealt to you. So, trance of empathy, it causes monsters to feel what you feel, effectively. I prefer Trance of Convalescence overall just because it gives you damage absorption, and it also just flat out increases your health and energy, and I think that the benefits are somewhat better because that flat increase just adds up to more than this does. But this gives you thorns as well. So I'm definitely going to put a point in Lucid Dream. And for now, I'm going to go ahead and put a point in Trance of Empathy as well, because we can always respec that point out later, and that gives us a toggled ability that I am going to add right here. I'll turn that on. And you can see right there it gives us a small visual effect to indicate that it is on, that glowing blue spiral, and it will slightly slow our energy regeneration. Oh boy, another quest here in the Laconia Hills, new area.
Traveler, please, you must assist me. A strange illness afflicts many in my town of Tegea, and I was sent to retrieve medicines. I have them in my cart. But now the pass ahead is hailed by satyrs, led by one of their fierce champions.
Alright, so we need to clear the pass. Our quest log over here is going to show us, ta-da, this is what we'll receive, so it lets you know right ahead, and exactly what you need to do. Oh, and I need to spend these points as well. One in dexterity, and I'm going to go ahead and put another one in intelligence as well. First, though, this is easy to miss, but if you go this way instead, there is actually a small area over here, bonus area, full of undead monsters. We call that free experience points. Take out these plague birds, which are just carrion crows, except that they also poison you. Come on. There we go. And I'm going to drop my portal stone because we're going to have to empty our inventory again. Let's see. Yeah, that's a staff, which means it takes up 8 slots. Can't quite pick that up, not yet. We're making a boatload of money off of this guy, though. Ooh, and that is like a medium health potion, which is great. Plus 60 health. We'll go ahead and sell that.
We shall see you again, I hope.
Traveler, store your things with me.
I'll drop these off here.
Your goods are safe with me.
And let's head right back. Continuing on. Let's put the Restless Dead back where they go. Oops, someone's shooting magic at us. Better get that guy. A Frost Lich. Yes, there are skeleton spellcasters in this game. Why did you ask? We want to take them down first because they hit hard and they deal magical damage, which we just don't have a lot of resistance to yet. So even though we don't want to get hit at all if we can avoid it, we definitely want to be hit by physical attacks rather than spells if we have to choose. Oh my gosh, do you see her shoot it over to the side there? There, that's better. Oh, these birds look so gross. They look like on The Sims when you have a sim who's like really filthy and they have that little green cloud that follows them around, the little like stink lines. Okay, let's see if there's anything good. This protective circlet is great, but we need 90 intelligence to wear it, so we'll just hang on to that. Staves, you can tell at a glance what kind of damage they deal based on the color of the glow in their icon, which is great. So that means that purple is lightning damage, blue is going to be cold damage, red is fire damage, and occasionally you will find rare unique staves, which will deal things like poison damage, but that's not a standard type. Alright, let's grab all of this. And here we go. Whoo, woo! Oh, he hits hard. There we go, but we hit harder. Okay. Let's grab these guys. Just try to separate him from like his little minions. Phooey. Oh, good, he dropped his armor. I was hoping he would, because he doesn't always. And now you guys get to see what this armor looks like, because
Your inventory is full.
it's very silly. First, let's go turn in the quest, though.
The way is clear? Good. Well, I'll be moving on, I suppose. Here, have this for your troubles.
There we go. He heals you, gives you some experience, and gives you a potion, which is great. Now this armor, I don't know if we can wear it yet. We cannot. Okay, well, we'll hang on to it then. It's about this time in the game that just because I'm making so many trips back, I've got a decent amount of money, I'm probably going to stop picking up white items and only pick up yellow ones. It's like I said, that happens pretty quickly. And it's not just because it's no fun to watch me go back and forth selling things, but also just because it's not necessary, because all of the white items, the unenchanted or unremarkable items that you can take back and sell, they don't add up to really like one yellow item. So, okay, we will hang on to all of this.
Until next time, you can store your goods with me.
We'll come back for this stuff.
So long.
So yeah, it's literally not worth the amount of trouble that you have to go through to teleport back and forth. Alright, ooh, Essence of Zeus's Thunderbolt. As you might guess, that adds lightning damage to weapons. Okay. There's a little side dungeon up here. Ooh, we've got us another spellcaster. Let's take him down. Every healing potion that they drop increases our ability to just kind of keep going without having to like stop and take a break or heal or anything else, which is great. Archers are deadly in this game because if you are using a bow, especially at the beginning of the game, you attack slowly, but bow hits are very powerful. They deal piercing damage, which means that they can bypass a certain amount of armor, and also, you know, especially if you have like the hunting mastery, for example, then you're looking at bleeding damage and a high critical hit rate as well. Go. There we go. That's the side quest I was looking for.
I know it's dangerous here, but I can't go home. My daughter was supposed to be married. Alas, her dowry, a fine gold necklace, is in the claws of crazed demons who smashed my cart and ran off.
That's rough, buddy. Don't worry, we'll get your necklace back. Right. There we go. That is right over here in this cave. Let's take care of these harpies first. And you can see, you know, like, I think you level up at a pretty, like, acceptable rate, at a fairly consistent rate, where if you just kill everything in an area and do all of the side quests before you move on, then it's as I described earlier, you don't really have to worry about level grinding or anything. That was so badly aimed, and that was totally my fault. I can't blame that on the character. Or on the AI, or whatever. I'll head back over to that cave in a moment. First, I'm going to go up here and clear out this camp of satyrs. Because they are level 6, most of them. I'm hoping that they will drop something that we want to pick up. There we go. That's the gateway to the next area.
The Spartan army. Yes, you'll find them just up the road. They've built a war camp there.
Yeah, because if you're not familiar with that name we heard earlier, Leonidas, go watch 300. It is not historically accurate, but it is a very enjoyable action movie. And honestly, I maintain that opinion even for people who aren't into scantily clad muscular men. Alright, now it's your turn, all of you guys. Did you see him clip through the fence? I thought we were the ones who were supposed to be able to teleport. Oh, alright. Excellent. We're getting a lot of good drops here in this first episode because that is stuff that I really want to show off and like kind of explain early on, so the game's being good to me. Boop. Alright, so it's this bright cyan item here is an arcane formula. That is what you have to have to craft the artifacts that I was talking about. It's essentially a recipe for a powerful magical item. Okay, that's a big enough jump in armor that I'm going to take the small hit to our energy regeneration, I think. And let's see. Yeah, we'll keep the one we have. See, so this shows we need a completed relic of the essence of Dionysus's wineskin. We need a completed spectral matter monster charm and a completed demon's blood charm. And then, for 75,000 gold, we can create the Scroll of Oneros, which gives us 40 energy leech over 2 seconds to all of our attacks, plus 10% to the duration of all of our sleep spells, such as Sands of Sleep. 4% physical resistance, 20% vitality damage resistance, and 25% stun resistance, and the only requirement to use it is you have to be player level 5. Now, we'll probably be well over level 5 before we actually create that, just because of what it takes. The spectral matter and the demon's blood in particular are dropped by, not rare enemies, but like ghosts especially don't drop spectral matter very often, so you might have to farm those in order to get a completed spectral matter charm. We always want to put at least 1 point into our mastery to keep this going, keep it moving, because see, it increases each time. We need 10 points total, which means 6, in order to unlock the next charm here, or next tier of abilities, which we want because that's going to give us a pet we can summon. So let's see. I'm going to go ahead and put 2 points in that, and then we'll put another point in... I'm going to say Distortion Wave. There we go. And then we'll put a point in dexterity, and we'll put one in intelligence. Nice. And we'll have a small chance to maybe find a demon's blood or two over here in this cave for the side quest, which would be great. Go ahead and get us started. Ghost enemies are also kind of rare and, like, you know, few and far between, as it were. There's not a lot of enemies that that will spawn spectral matter. So it's not that it's a rare drop, and the same thing for the demon's blood. Like, the charm itself probably has the same drop rate as any other charm. Here's the guy with the necklace. It's that the monsters themselves kind of, like, don't spawn often enough. Oh, we got a potion at least. I like the realism in the armor and stuff here, where, you know, they've got like armored greaves and bracers and things that are all separate armor items, rather than suits of things like full plate, because those just didn't really exist during this time period, since it's classical Greece.
The necklace! Oh, may the goddess Hera bless you!
You're welcome, dude. Calm down. And he gave us a golden fleece. So, just like Zeus's Thunderbolt enchants weapons with electricity damage, you know, lightning damage, Golden Fleece enchants torso armor with reduced energy cost. So it's great for spellcasters because it makes things like Distortion Wave take less of our energy. Okay. Let's head up the road and meet the Spartans. Meet the Spartans. Wasn't that like a parody movie of 300? Or something like that? I think so. Whew. Have to pop a healing potion. I forgot that there's the cemetery on the way here. Take these archers out real quick. This area is just the worst for, like, see, as you go in, it surprises you with stuff popping up out of the ground. Oh, no. I'm not ready to take a death. Don't want to get surrounded there. These guys, though, heavily armored and carrying powerful weapons. Phew-wee. Okay, now I might actually grab some of these things, even though they are white items, just because we're in an area now where some of this stuff is possibly going to be better than what we're wearing. Calm down, guy. Let's go over here and get rid of all of this stuff. Gonna take this big guy down first. See, look at all of the arrows. You have to kind of kite the melee dudes around and kill them first, because otherwise the archers will 1 and 2 you to death. But that's alright. See, Distortion Wave just tears right through them at rank 2. Ooh, an energy potion. Good. Huey. Grab that. Okay, let's take a look and see what we picked up, if any of it is better than what we have. This helmet's going to be an increase. Ooh, check that out. They both have +5 dexterity, so this is just a straight upgrade. Awesome. No agonizing about which one's better. This, 12 armor. We would lose our bonus to strength but gain lightning resistance. I think we'll keep the ones we've got. This is going to boost our armor and give us poison resistance instead of energy regeneration. That's probably better. Probably. We cannot wear these, not yet. They'll sell for quite a bit, though. Stop. Stop hitting me with throwing axes. Alright, time to empty our backpacks again. Once we get done with this graveyard, there are some new shops and things kind of waiting for us just up the road. There we go. That should be a big jump. Excellent.
Until next time, you can store your goods with me.
We'll definitely hang on to that for later. Put these relics over here. This is a new feature, by the way. They did not originally have this relic vault in the caravan. That was added so that you know, people could actually store their relics and things separately in their own area, because, I mean, otherwise they pile up really fast, and especially if you're sharing them with other characters, they take up a lot of room here. So it's a great feature. Alright, let's get back. But yeah, we've got some new shops coming up, and I like how well the game is delineated into sections by like the placement of the portals. Basically, every time that you reach a new portal, you know, it feels like a meaningful milestone. It feels like, you know, that's how you know you've gotten to a new area. There will be a portal for you to teleport to. Come on. Phew. There we go. Pick up these yellow items, open this chest. Oop. Need a little bit of defense. See, the game plays very differently based on, like, you know, what masteries you pick, and so we're chewing through enemies when we get up to them because we chose Dream, and so it's giving us a lot of offensive power. But defensively, we're suffering because we just don't have a lot of buffs yet, and that's not what Dream is about. I won't say we're suffering, we just don't have anything special in the defensive department. Got this little area right over here. Man, he's shooting really quickly. Staff attacks are usually much slower than that because they're kind of like the magical version of bows. They hit very hard, and so they don't shoot as quickly. He was on it, though. Alright. Always some good stuff in those chests. Actually slightly disappointed that there wasn't like an essence or a monster charm or something. Okay. We are pretty much finished with this area. Kill off these last few lingering enemies here around the edges. Got some birds, some boars. We've got a few more satyrs. Saturday, 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 Saturday. Alright, we will come back this direction in just a moment. We had one more boar, I think? Yeah. Oh, and another hidden skeleton. I love how they just pop out of the ground like that. Come on, go down. There we go. Be ridiculous to die now. Oh. Secret boar. He heard us before we could see him, apparently. And here we are, at the edge of the Spartan camp. Gonna grab another one of these. Remember just a little while ago when that guy was a mini-boss? Yep, and here we are. The Spartan war camp.
General Leonidas. He's just ahead. But he doesn't speak with commoners who arrive uninvited.
Ha. And there he is back there. Big guy. But we're going to have to do something for the Spartans before we can talk to them, of course.
I tell you, stranger, we've seen invasions. Macedonians, the Persians. A human enemy may lower his weapons and yield, but these monsters only yield to death.
See, they've all got something to say.
I just joined Leonidas' men today. My father gave me permission, and his old spear and shield, and I took off like Hermes himself.
Hold it there. No civilian gets in to see General Leonidas, especially when he's in a council of war.
He's right there.
Well, look. A particularly savage centaur named Nessus has killed several of our farmers. He runs wild in the Pelena Valley. We don't have the men to send after it right now. Kill the beast, and I'll see you get to speak to Leonidas.
Because of course he's like, foo, an impossible task for this fool commoner who just ran up out of nowhere. So, this is our first enchanter.
Formula for artifacts.
This right here is where we place our formula, our reagents, pay our money, and then create our artifact, which goes in this slot, which is otherwise unused. The Altar of Separation is where you can either, like if you put something such as Zeus's Thunderbolt into a weapon, you can drop that item in here, and the enchanter will either give you back the item or the relic or charm. The other one is destroyed, unfortunately. That's another reason why sometimes I'm hesitant to drop a charm into an item.
Thank you.
There we go. And the portal. And here are the shops. I love that there is a Spartan magic shop. Just because you don't think of like Spartans as wizards, but poke the target.
Yes, have a look.
Alright, let's see. That's not great. That's not great. This mace. Yeah, spear's better. Okay, let's see. Now this could be better. More armor. We're going to lose the bonus health, but we're going to gain pierce resistance, intelligence, and energy regeneration. Possibilities. That's not as good. Have to be level 8 to even use that, and we're only level 5, so by the time we get to level 8, we will have found something else that is probably better, so I'm just going to go ahead and sell that. Same with this, plus 9 armor. That is a good enchantment, but by the time we get to level 8, we'll have found something else. Nope. Nope. Actually, right now, because we keep courting death, I'm going to stick with the 79 health, I think. You see your magic shop guy, you know, he sells necklaces, he sells rings. They will also sell dyes, which you can use to dye your tunic. See, light blue, white, gray, tan. He's got a couple of decent rings, but nothing we can buy. And then here, of course, is all going to be wizard armor, staves.
Goodbye.
Whereas this fellow with the swords over his head rather than the book, that means that he specializes in warriors' equipment.
Hurry, what do you want?
See, fire damage, poison damage, and strength. Ooh. Oh man, we could buy that. As with, like, most... he sounds so sarcastic. Bye. But as with most dungeon crawler games and roguelikes, and similar games to this type, Diablo-style games, the things that you can buy in a shop are very rarely going to be worth it compared to the things that you just pick up for free. So I usually don't buy stuff out of a shop unless it's really good.
If I look worried, it's because Hippias, an ancient of war and father figure to me, wandered off into the valley this morning and has not come back. He is getting old and thinks he still has his former strength and speed.
Alright, well... he's worried about that old guy. I guess we'd better go find him, right? That was foolish. Yes, the NPCs around here, as you have already seen, will jump out and fight these enemies if they get close enough. Which also means that if we encounter something, you know, nearby to, like, the camp guards or that kind of thing, boar hide, that maybe are, you know, too powerful for us, we can actually kite them back and we can get the NPCs to help us. No big deal. Slow. The distortion wave's getting better and better. Alright, and another level. Excellent. Okay, let's go ahead and deal with that right now. Put another couple of points in this. And let's see. Let's do... that's going to reflect more damage. That's just going to increase all of our damage. This is something we're going to keep putting points in no matter what. And if we do that, it's going to make Distortion Wave and Psionic Touch both stronger. So I'm going to put a point in that this time. An iron reinforced suit. Can we wear that? No, required strength 80. Boo. Well, let's see. How about we put 4 points in strength? There, now we can do it. That's enough of an armor jump. That's almost double. So I think that's good in exchange for the poison resistance. And then we'll dump that other one in dexterity. That works out because we've been putting all of our points in intelligence, so no harm done putting a couple in strength. Ooh, there we go. My technique or methodology for clearing out these areas is usually to just kind of like go around the edges until I run into enemies or they run into me, and I sort of outline the area, and then I check my map, and if there is anything left over, I go back in and I our first centaur, boom, won't be our last, and then I just kind of clear out the stuff that's in the middle. Here we go, look at this, all of these dead monsters around this old guy. He is great.
I was taking a morning stroll when I came across these monsters. When I was done with them, I thought I would rest a while.
I love it. This old dude is just like, these monsters, man. What a drag. Ruined my morning walk. Can an old Spartan not even go out for a jog in peace? Ooh, more boarhide. Awesome. I don't think it'll be too much longer before we have a full boarhide, which is great. Come on. Yeah, I'm feeling that damage increase because, see, of course, the faster that we take things out, the less that they can hurt us. That's the Dream Mastery's version of damage mitigation, I suppose. You can see the exclamation point up there. That's Nessus, the Centaur Chieftain. That's our boss that we need to fight. We'll get to him in a moment. First, though, definitely want to take these guys out. Come back here. I don't know that we will level up again before we fight Nessus. Probably not. I'd say we might level up like when we fight Nessus. Oop, another boarhide. Hey. That's one of the most common drops. I do feel as though certain monster types like have a higher drop rate for their beast charms, but it's not a huge deal in most cases. There are a few notable exceptions where, like, you know, boarhide drops a lot more than spectral matter. And spectral matter is, you know, like I said earlier, it can be difficult to farm, which is a pain in the butt if you are trying to build an artifact or something, but honestly, very little about this game is like frustrating or unbalanced, I think. I especially like that, as I said back at the beginning, all of the different masteries and their combinations like are really they're quite viable. So, you know, if you want to play Warfare and Storm, I've done that. It absolutely works. If you wanted to play Defense and Earth, it absolutely works. If you want to play Nature and Hunting, it absolutely works. But also if you wanted to play Nature and Rogue, or if you wanted to play Rogue and Rune, all of them work together. Now, are there optimal builds? Arguably, yes. You know, every game is going to have that to a certain degree. You know, there's going to be best combinations that you can pick. And there's going to be some combinations that just don't work together as well. Like, you know, Rogue and Hunting work together really well because they both favor similar types of weapons. And because things like the bleeding and critical damage and stuff stack really well. But, you know, Nature and Storm also work really well. They don't all have to be the same. I don't think there's one, like, best one. Alright, let's turn in this quest.
Hippias was okay? Just standing there. Well, I should have known better than to worry about old Hippias. Here, take this for your trouble.
Thank you. 2,000 gold. While we're here, let's go ahead and sell this. Now you'll notice that only in major towns is there a caravan. So I am going to hop back over to Helos real quick in order to put these boar charms away, because this is just the Spartan camp. So they happen to make camp on a location where there was a portal, but like the shopkeepers are just kind of here, like they came with the army. Forgot that if you have that window open, when you right-click, it just transfers things back and forth. That is slightly aggravating, so then you have to click out in order to combine things, and then talk to him a second time. But it's a very small irritation because you're not all the time going to be, you know, combining 7 and 8 relics like that. Alright. I'm going to drop my portal stone. There's Nessus. This is going to be our first real boss fight, so... And our first job is to separate him from his cronies here and get rid of them.
Not enough energy.
Ugh. He's got a power where he's hitting us and dealing like energy burn, which is not great. That is not ideal. And you'll see here too, see he is spawning lots of ads. Ooh. He can be a rough fight, honestly. He is like the game's first real kick in the butt. Come on. Man, look at that. He's got some kind of special weapon or something. Because that is one of the things that is procedurally generated about this game, is that monsters can have random equipment. And they do benefit from that random equipment. Shoo-wee. That's often where I take my first death of the game, actually. I'm glad that I didn't there. Went through a lot of healing potions, though. I'm going to wait very carefully over here and let my health regenerate before I go any further. I like the way the Centaur Cuirass looks. But it is, even with this 8 pierce resistance, the 6 armor is just better. I think that's kind of what got us through that fight, actually. Okay, one of his cronies is left. One of the mooks. Phew-wee. Ah, and there's our first big boss chest, but first... Usually he doesn't deal energy burn like that. That made that a lot harder than it typically is. And he's already kind of a big deal. Alright, let's see what's in this beautiful, majestic chest. Love it. You'll love to see it. Alright. Phew. Okay. Now, of course, you know, the area does continue up in this direction. You can see here, Spartans have guards up this way. And we are going to have to go in this direction, you know, in order to continue the game.
You have no more room.
Oop. Let me see. Let's throw down this unenchanted staff. Pick up that enchanted one. Good, at least we're picking up more healing potions. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run up here and I'm going to grab that rebirth fountain that you may see on the edge of the map, that little pink plus icon. And that way, the next time that I start the game, that is where I will spawn. So I won't have to kill Nessus again and like go through all of this. There we go. That'll start us out here. So it'll be a much shorter trip to where we need to go. Nice. But in order to actually advance the story, I'm going to have to go back and talk to Leonidas. And see, there's the danger in harpies. Certain kinds of harpies, they will come with like the storm mastery, and they will buff in an aura. And so, since they are usually accompanied by other lesser harpies or by birds, they can gang rush you really quickly because they all have that buff. And so the little birds, which, you know, have kind of a 1 and 2 thing going on, suddenly they are dealing significantly more damage, and it's not great. Oh, there we go. That's a cold shrine, which adds cold damage to your attacks, and cold damage means a slow effect, which is great. I'll come back and grab this treasure in just a second. I want to take advantage of the cold shrine while I've got it to help me fight these demons here. And there's another majestic chest as well. This is a dead-end cave that doesn't go anywhere, so it's cool to do this before we go on. Alright, another ability, or another recipe. Let's see, throw that down. Money, necklace, shield.
You can't carry anymore.
Surely I can, though. Yeah, we can fit that in there. Thankfully, this is not like inventory management the game, and that one button makes it way easier. Ooh, our first green item. Okay, so green items are rare, whereas like yellow just means they're enchanted. Blue items are set items, purple are plot items, cyan of course is artifact recipes. Green items are rare items, so they have more powerful enchantments. Alright, let's sell some of this stuff yet again. Sell everything we're definitely not going to use. Some of this stuff is a little iffy. See, like that's, plus 8 dexterity and some energy regeneration. That's not bad, but 58 energy, not as good as 6 dexterity. Same. Ooh, 6 intelligence and 70 energy. Maybe? Nah, probably not. Offensive ability and fire resistance. This one's just... That's just a better shield, though. I'm going to go with that. Bye. Bye. Alright, let's pick up the rest of this. Yeah, we can do it. I believe in us. Here we go. I'll go grab this floor cache. Our favorite thing. There we go. Alright, I think that was all of it. Alright, let's head back and talk to Leonidas. And I think that that's where we'll call this one after I get a chance to speak with him and complete this quest. So, I hope that you will join me a week from now, next Thursday.
Spartan. Speak with the general if you must. Be quick. Leonidas is a busy man.
Right. Yeah, we won't take up too much of his time. But I thank you for joining me for this time. I hope you'll be here this coming Saturday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for more Might and Magic 7. And again next Thursday at 7 p.m. for more Titan Quest. And on Monday at 7 p.m. I will have a very special treat for you. So I definitely hope that you'll join me then. In the meantime, while I wrap this up, give me a follow here on Twitch, over on YouTube, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and you can also follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Pillow Fort for like more personal updates and also for news about upcoming streams and stuff that we're doing here on the channel.
So you're the one who brought the centaur down. I thought only a Spartan warrior could accomplish such a feat.
Ha.
So you are here on Diomedes' behalf. Very well. I will send a few of my men to defend his village. This isn't the first petition I've received requesting assistance. These beasts are everywhere now. And the lazy citizens who mocked Spartan discipline now whine for our help. No matter. Those creatures will regret the day they dared to step on Spartan soil. You must journey to the Oracle of Delphi. She will know where these monsters come from. I'd send a Spartan warrior, but I need all of them for battle. Go to Megara and find my old friend Timon. He can help you acquire a proper offering for the Oracle. Young warrior, remember, bravery is not born, it is made.
Well, he's right about that, at least. And I love that our reward for this, since it's a major plot quest, is a skill point. So I'm actually going to drop that straight into our mastery since it's a bonus. That way, when we level up next time, it'll only take 1 point to get us to rank 10, and then we will have 2 points to spend on these new tier 3 abilities. So that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you to all of you who joined me here for this unusual stream, since normally I only do once a week. I hope that you'll be back here next week, like I said. And in the meantime, stay inside, wash your hands, take care of each other, do what you can to support your community, and try not to go too stir-crazy with cabin fever during this whole coronavirus pandemic. I'll see you next time, and as always, thanks for playing.